Good evening, dear student. This is URUREMBO class. I'm teacher Fidel. As you can see, teacher of literature in English and English. And today's lesson, I want you to introduce to you literature. What is literature? What is the main form of literature? What is the main genres of literature? So here we are. Remember to subscribe on URUREMBO class. URUREMBO class will bring you always very interesting lessons, practices, and experiments to all runners. Please, I would like to invite you to this lesson of today. Introduction to literature. So some of the students confused about literature. So I would like to introduce you to you really what is literature, and you understand better. This will be your basic, right? This will be your basic. What is literature? Dear student, here literature is defined as any work of imagination, creative work that uses language as its medium of communication. This is the first definition. Okay, this is the first definition. If you look to the second definition, literature, it is also defined as a form of artistic expression that uses language as its medium of communication. So, from those two definitions of literature, dear student, you can see the word language comes always in both definitions. So the key point here is language, okay? So in fact, literature is a work of imagination. It means from your mind, not to copy anyway, but from your mind, original work. So, but that work uses the language, okay? Our material in literature is language. We manipulate language. We use language in a creative way so as to produce a very unique work. So now, dear students, but the purpose of literature is to communicate, okay? Is to communicate human feelings, human thoughts, and human emotions. Dear students, in general, you can see in general literature is an art form that uses language creatively to communicate human feelings from the author to the people. People means audience. Okay? Then literature seeks to affect people emotionally. Okay? As usual, literature first importance is to affect people emotionally and try to communicate human perception and experience. We have perception, how do you perceive things, and your experience, okay? And your experience. Dear student, as you can see, generally, literature as an art. Why we say literature is an art, okay? Artists. An art. Okay? So it is an art because it is creative. Okay? It is from the mind. Okay? And we use the language so as to create something unique. The reason why it is an art. And it should not be copied from anywhere. Or seen anyway. It should be unique. So dear students, so this is literature, and then we have two types or categories of forms of literature. Okay, as usual, we have oral literature and the written literature. When we say oral literature or written literature, what do we mean here? Okay, not only types of literature or category forms, but we have the other broad subcategories. We have the other product subcategories, which characterized by generic differences and properties. But before we go to the subcategories, let us talk about these two these two types or categories or forms of literature. When we say oral literature and written literature, what do we mean? Now, when we say oral literature, dear student, we mean the literature that is not written, okay, but rather spoken, okay. It is a spoken literature or orature in nature, okay. Spoken literature or orature in nature. So this oral literature, dear student, it is oral literature, and it is from the one person who first came in the world. It means literature is life, because literature starts when someone is born. So this is the oldest literature, okay? Because written literature comes after, okay, after colonization. It means before colonization, it was oral literature, dear student. Okay? So now, among the spoken or oral literature, also we have their subcategories, dear student. Do you remember them? Okay, do you remember them? When our parents, our forefathers or foremothers, our ancestors, they used to sit in a bonfire after work, okay, to teach children, okay. In that time, parents, they were like teachers, and children, they were like runners or students. So what did they do there? They just sit around the bonfire in the compound, and then the parents start to educate their children through spoken literature, dear student. And then they use the following subcategories of literature. The parents, they use what you call narratives. They use the narratives to teach their students, their children, whether boys or girls. So now, in the narratives, what do we see in narratives? First of all, we see what we call myths. Myths are stories about the origin of the community, creation, religion, and theological tales. Then myths, they are stories about origin of community creation, religion, and theological tales. Dear student, remember, each community has its myths. I mean stories telling us about their origin or creation of the community. Even in Rwanda community, we have our myths. Okay? Even in Kenya, even in Tanzania, every country, every community, every society has its myths. For example, you will have an example of the story about Rwanda. Okay, the stories about Rwanda. Where comes Rwanda? And the Banyarwanda. The story says that there was a Gihanga Ngomijana who created the people and the cows. But also they say that Gihanga is from heaven. And the Gihanga has no father, has no mother. That is the myth, our myth. Our myth. Community creation. And also we have the other myths. Do you remember someone who is called the old woman who called the Nyiransibura? Nyiransibura is the old woman, okay? People said that Nyiransibura is the one who made the Lake Kivu. Do you listen to me, dear student? She is the one who made the Lake Kivu. You see? I mean, I know that you know this story somewhere. Eh? You know this story. How the Reki Kivu was formed but by the old woman. The old woman is called Nyiransivura. Then let's go to the other stories called legends. Legends also, there are stories about legends, heroes and heroines, great warriors. Okay? Also, there are kind of stories that our forefathers and foremothers used to tell their children about legends and heroes and heroines and great warriors, so as to make children to be patriotic to the country, to their society, to their community. Okay? In Rwanda, we have a legend, and someone who has done extraordinary actions. Extraordinary actions. And today, nobody who can do that. Eh? In Rwanda, we have what you call Ruganzu Ndori. Ruganzu Ndori, we can classify him in these regions. His story, because he was a hero and a great warrior. And it is said that even when the enemies followed him, he should pass through the mountain. This is extraordinary action. Nobody who can do that. Do you see? And then we have the other stories called the folk tales. Dear student, in folk tales we have animal stories, we have ogre stories, we have social relation stories, and so many stories. When we say animal stories and ogre stories, they are stories they used to tell their children that if you cry at night, the big animal with the big eyes will come and take you and will eat you. So as children, not to cry at night. Do you remember the story of Nyamuryabana, dear student? I hope you understand this. So we have the other oral poetry or songs. In fact, in oral literature, also we have oral poetry. Those oral poetry were reserved for kings. This court poetry official performed in king's court. Okay? Do you remember the poems from the great people in Rwanda? You have to know them. You have to know them. Also, there is a praise poetry, dirges, war poetry, wedding songs, creed songs, lullabies, and epics. Okay? So this praise poetry, it is reserved for everyone. Okay? And this is the songs when someone dies. This is a song, dirges, the songs for someone dies. War poetry in our wedding, when there is a wedding ceremony. Credo songs when someone is born. Lullabies, okay, and epics, okay. These lullabies are for children to make the babies not to cry. So, dear student, number 3 is the proverbs, sayings, and riddles. Those also are classified in oral literature. The oldest literature in oral literature. Okay, so we have proverbs, sayings, and riddles. So this is the general, dear student, oral literature. So let's go to written literature. As I told you, written literature is modern literature because the old literature is called the oral literature. So in written literature, we have 2 genres of literature. We have poetry, we have drama, and we have prose. Okay. So now, in poetry, dear student, we have what you call blank verse, and we have free verse. When I say blank verse, it means the old poetry that respected the rules of poetry. But when I say free verse, it is more than poetry, whereby you write whatever you want. Dear student, we have the other genres of literature, which is drama. Drama, which is performed before live audience. Drama also, it is a genre of literature that is performed before live audience. In drama, we have tragedy, we have comedy, we have tragicomedy, we have melodrama and farce. Dear students, allow me to come to the prose. Prose, fiction or non-fiction. In prose, as definition says, prose as a genre of literature that is written in continuous sentences and organized into paragraphs. But we have examples here of prose. We have novels, we have short stories, we have novellas, etc. So now this is the general literature, dear student. Okay? We come to the definition of literature, we come to see and the forms of literature, and we come to see genres of literature. And then here is the functioning of literature. What is the function of literature to the community? Why literature is so important? Okay? Number one, literature sharpens and broadens the mind, and it is important for development of generic competencies such as critical thinking, analysis, and creativity. This is the function of literature, dear student. The very important of literature in a community. So literature sharpens and broadens the mind, as I come to say, and it has importance for development of generic competencies, example, critical thinking, analysis, and creativity. So number two, literature enables students to explore human conditions and deepen their understanding of cultural values and social issues. If you read the novels, okay, from different countries, you explore human conditions and deepen the cultural values and the social issues in different communities from which the novel is from. Also, literature is a source of both pleasure and information through purposeful, creative, and use of language. Of course, it's a source of information. Okay, for example, you can read about something, some issues, and you get information about that thing. Also, it's a pleasure, whereby you can enjoy reading, whether comedy, whether tragedy, whether novels, you can enjoy. It's a source of joy. The other importance, dear student, also literature helps learners to connect to the either age and culture all over the world. For example, if you read a novel from America, okay, talking about the kind of generation, okay, it connects you with the same age, with the cultural values all over the world. Literature also helps us to understand the community and our history. Yeah, you understand. When you write something part of the past, the younger generation will read and understand their history, okay, and the community value and the community values. Also, literature is a vehicle for transmitting and perceiving collective social norms and the values of the community. This you understand. Preserve. You preserve social norms and the values of the community through dances, through clothing, through songs. You can preserve them. Learners study the meaning of good and bad. You learn what is good, what is bad. Okay? And you change accordingly. Literature is a source of richness. Yes, literature can provide richness, dear student. You can learn literature and you get rich. Why? How and how? Because literature can provide opportunities. It means you can earn money from literature. Dear student, for example, when you write a novel, okay, and then it is published, you can sell on the market and you can get many money. So much money. Okay? And then you can see that literature also is a source of richness. Even you can just have a YouTube for comedies and whatever. Those is literature, my friends. Okay? You can get money from literature. So here is a study questions, dear student. Now this is taken as an assignment or a homework. Number one, conduct a research on Rwandan oral literature. Okay? Conduct a research of on Rwandan or literature, whereby you will identify at least 50 proverbs from Rwandan community and discuss their meaning. And also, you will analyze the importance of that proverbs to the community development. So, dear student, this is URUREMBO class. I hope this was a very interesting lesson. And then I hope you will continue subscribing on this channel and share comment so as it can just reach to many students and learn and revise. Thank you for today, and I hope you will enjoy next lesson. Goodbye. See you. We love you so much.